Almost all time.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Yeah.
So, it is our time. Let's start with a quick prayer. Master Jesus, spiritual friends, here we are once more, dedicating our time to learn, to share, to improve ourselves in the aim of be a better tool in your hands. Be with us through this humble study, giving us the right intuition of what to ask, what to say, and what to find in Kardec's words. Be with us today and always. So be it.
So be it.
So let me share my screen with you all.
Bom dia. Good morning.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
I guess so, right?
Yes.
Today we're starting with item 334, bona fide societies. Everything we have stated about meetings in general naturally applies to regularly constituted societies. Nevertheless, societies must struggle against a few special problems deriving from ties among their members. From the numerous requests we have received for information about their composition, we will sum up some of our explanations. Spiritism, which has only recently appeared on the scene, is diversely appreciated and too little understood. In its essence, by a large number of its followers in order to offer a strong bond among its members that could give rise to an association. I think when he says here, little understood, I think there's still the case. Because many people who are accustomed to what we do, they really don't bother to study. They really do not bother to go a little bit more in depth to understand what is happening, why it's happening, consequences, how can do better. And with that in mind, the consequence that Kardec will show to us is almost inevitable. Because then I will say, well, I think, I wish, maybe. Kardec, he gave us enough information to minimize a lot those things. It's up to us to go deeper, to satisfy our need of information, and to be better prepared to help others. Such a bond could not exist except among those who understand its moral objective and who completely apply themselves to it. As ever, people interpretation is something quite tricky because we can always make a test here. We can give a text to all of us. We have 5 minutes to read, and then we ask for interpretations. Very unlikely all the participants will give exactly the same interpretation. Very, very unlikely. Because our interpretation is a product of our exposure, is a product of what we have studied, is a product of our practices, and something that is even more complicated is a product of our expectations. Why I'm saying that? Expectations Because there are people that are, as ever, on any society, any religion, any philosophy, anything in the world, they are part of it for different reasons. I may be part of this group for curiosity. I may be part of a mediumship for meeting for curiosity. I may be part of a mediumship meeting or a study or any gathering, if you like, because I want to promote myself, because I want to learn what they know so I can use for something else. I want to be part of a group because I want to get attention to something that I did not make public yet, but I'm counting on the group to allow that to happen. When I'm very friendly with everyone, then I will disclose my project. So everything is possible because we are human beings. So we need to ask ourselves why we are really doing something. And then, as Kardec said, a good group, a good study, a good meeting is bounded by good moral aspects, equivalent objectives. In a mediumship meeting, if I do have someone that's over there just for the sake of curiosity, people with a bit of sensitivity will feel it, will know. How many people goes into a mediumship meeting just to be, oh, what is it? This is spirit talking. Ah, this is not true. This is the medium. Well, what about this one? Well, and then when it comes to your time to do your exercise, you are so disconnected. Your thoughts are so far away where you're supposed to be that you cannot. So we need always to ask ourselves what we really want, what is really my goal. No serious element of connection could exist among those who only see through the more or less curious phenomena. I just spoke about that. There are people that are only led to participate on meetings because of curiosity. They are not truly committed. They do not really study. They do not really put themselves forward to really use this as it's supposed to be used. If such a phenomena were placed above principles, or one simple disagreement on the right way to regard them could cause skins. I'm not sure what that word means. So. The same would not apply to those solely interested in its moral objective. However, because there are no two ways of seeing it, the same would not apply for those solely interested in its moral objective. However, because there are no two ways of seeing it, basically, is or is not. It is also a fact that, however we find such individuals, mutual trust always connects them with one another. If I am a medium, I'm participating on a mediumship meeting, and I do not trust the indoctrinator, I do not trust the other mediums, I do not trust the place I am, I do not trust the colleagues on the room, they're going to work. They're going to work for you, and will disrupt the others. I'm not saying cannot be performed, because the spirits who give us the assistance, they will go an extra leg to help us out, but make things more difficult at least. Reciprocal benevolence is the rule amongst them and excludes any embarrassment resulting from sensitiveness, pride triggered by the slightest contradiction, and self-centeredness, which demands everything for the person it indwells. A society in which such sentiments were shared, where the members gathered together in order to learn from spirits, and not only in the hope of seeing more or less interesting novelties or making their own opinion prevail, would not only be viable, but indissoluble. Indissoluble? Indissoluble. What a word. as well. The difficulty involves in bringing several members together in a homogeneous manner leads us to the state that in the interest of the studies and for the good of the cause itself, Spiritist societies should aim at creating small groups instead of large associations. For some reason, in our human nature, we try to do something more looking a cathedral than anything else. We like to show that we have thousands of members on that center, or we have thousands of people in the lecture. Is this a spiritism, or this is the human being talking? These groups corresponding with one another, visiting one another, and exchanging observations could soon form the nucleus of a large spiritist family that would someday bring together all opinions, uniting men and women in the same sentiment of fraternity sealed by Christian charity. Let's use this last sentence to see how can we do that. We are led to believe that to do spiritism, we need to go to a spiritist center. Outside the spiritist center is not safe, it's wrong, I should not do, bad things can happen to me, to my home, to my family, and else. Is that what Kardec is saying here? I don't think so. How did Spiritism started? They built a massive building before they started the things, or the meetings, the phenomena were happening in our homes, where we got together to study something, to evaluate the phenomena. Small groups, here, there, over there. I think that was the way it started. And that was the way that things really spread quickly at that time. Most of the Spiritist center, they started at someone's home, in a garage, in a room that was not used. So why we are afraid of doing something at home then? Of course, if morally speaking, my home is not a place for do good things, anything I do there may not be perfect or may not work. And if my place is like as just described, because my inclinations are on that line. But in the other hand, if I'm doing what is right, if I have a home that is not perfect, but we are trying to be, or we're trying to get a better place, why not? We should think about it. Because I don't see anything that would prevent us to be able to do it if we really want to. I do not. So why I don't do it? Am I scared? Is it easier to go to someone else or to go to someone else? Yeah, because we like to subcontract our responsibilities to. Can you pray for me, please? Because your prayer is stronger. And when you are praying, I'll be there doing something wrong, okay? Or I'll be there watching Netflix. Not wrong, but instead of me praying, I'll ask you to pray for me when I can use my time to do something better. We need to ask ourselves those questions from time to time. One hand, let me see who is there.
It's me. Because here he's talking about like studying together, like small centers studying together. I think I heard the other day that nowadays people are relying too much and just go to a center just to hear someone talk, but never really take the time to sit down and study the books. You know, like we should do at school, like really try to understand and get their own opinions. Just like they just go, like because of that, I think that's the problem. I mean, the problem. You have like this huge, not here, but huge institutions that people go, sit down, listen to someone talks, go home, and think they have ticked the box.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Pretty much. There's no difference to do what you just described than to go to a church, to go to somewhere else, just to see, sitting there for like an hour a week, listening to someone, not even bothering to really understand or to really listening in depth. But then I tick the box, as you said, yeah. Or if I'm going to the church, I'll get something from the church. If I'm going to the Spirit Center, I'll get a pass, a healing, and I feel that I'm okay for the week. I did my thing. I tick the box. This is not to be a spiritist.
Mm-hmm.
No. And sometimes we have those attitudes because we're bringing that from something else. Sometimes even from other reincarnations, things that we are accustomed to. For example, if I was a Catholic for many years, I really need to do something like that because I was formatted to go once a week in the Mass, hear the priest, get something and get out. And then I still think that the Spiritism, this, regardless what we think or say here, that's the way I should behave. But you're not able to commit yourself to any charitable activity. You're not able to commit yourself to any decent study. No. Back in Brazil, we have lots of people like that too. They go to the Spirit Center, oh, Sunday morning, Spirit Center. When I finish here, I need to go to the restaurant, I need to go to football, blah, blah. It became like something mechanical. And people don't really understand what is the thing behind. We need to ask ourselves those questions from time to time. Hi, Munir.
Hi, Guilherme. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I think the major problem I see with the people's approach to Spiritism is that they think that they have physical presence. There's so many hours they spend in the Spiritist Center, finding something to do. Will help them spiritually. Whereas what helps us spiritually is the study. And to apply the study is the first and foremost objective of us should be is actually to gain from our contact with the Spiritism. And naturally, it starts with us and then a small group. And as we grow, we have the condition to offer something to other people. It's normal that we think that, oh, I'm here to offer Spiritism to other people. And what about me? What am I doing in spiritual terms? Am I gaining anything? Oh, I know the Spirit's book by heart. I can tell you, any of the questions that there is in the book, where they are, the answers, and so on. But what am I doing, with these knowledge? Am I applying that to me first? So this is the important thing, and that's why Kardec says, it's better to have a small group. It's not only for the sake of harmony. It's easier to keep a harmonious group if you have only a few members in that group than to make it really large, where you have a spectrum, huge spectrum of people, of opinions, of perceptions, and then naturally you may get some, conflicts in that. What to do? Kardec says, split it in small groups, harmonious groups, and then make the interaction not, among all the individuals, but, among the groups. Visit, the groups regularly, exchange letters and so on. Why is that? A small group. Yes, a small group because it's better for its members. Otherwise, it may just, as been said, it just may, be there, be physically present, and what? What are we gaining?
Munir, something that came to my mind as well is that Spiritism is a philosophy that talks about Spiritism. not about Buddhism, not about hate, not about, no. And many people will come and they want to transform Spiritism to what they like. Because I like many things outside Spiritism, but that's not an excuse to transform Spiritism into Spiritism/Buddhism, Spiritism/ whatever, you know? They are all good philosophies, they all have good
Indeed.
points. But
Indeed, Guilherme.
Spiritism is Spiritism.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to remind people, well, yes, but here we study Spiritism. I know there are things that are different. Some of them we don't even have knowledge to even digress or speak about it. We know there are a lot of things there, but here we talk about Spiritism. But human beings like to feel comfortable where they are. So they try to modify as they see fit. And that's not what the Spiritism is, really.
Yeah. Yeah, you see, sometimes, Spiritism doesn't talk too much about astral traveling. So we should bring astral traveling and color therapy. And no, this is not Spiritism. You may like it, it may work, it may be an area that Spiritism doesn't go into detail, but let's keep Spiritism, Spiritism. Let's keep astral traveling or, other philosophies as they are, pure. Because then we can learn from each one. Otherwise, in the end, it will be a mess. You don't know, where, the basis of everything is anymore,
I will share here before I see that two hands. I will share something before I allow you guys to talk. A few years back, one participant of a Spiritist center started to say, well, we need to use lights on the healing room. We need to use chromotherapy on the healing room because it's positive. And we were not in favor. But, as ever, you're going to ask the benefactors what they think. And the answer was very, very nice. They said, well, we really do not need that on the Spiritist center because we do use lights, everything from our plane of existence. So you don't need to do anything like that. We do. We bring what we need to do what we're supposed to do. Nevertheless, if the person does not feel comfortable going to a Spiritist center, receiving a healing, you can always recommend them to go to the professionals, to the practitioner, elsewhere, not on the Spiritist center. Elsewhere is I am adding, right? So that's clear. Spiritism remains Spiritism, not saying that there are not other things that are positive, but they are positive, but you go where they do it, not transform what we do into what you feel like, what you want to, So, Christine, I know you're waiting for so long. Go on.
It's okay. Hi, everybody. I've been on holidays, but before I went on holidays, my brother-in-law passed away. But before he passed away, and I helped him in that process, I sat with him and talked to him about disincarnate and incarnate. And I said to him, you may see things, you may not. And I said, you may have already seen things. And I said, but the thing is, you're going to be out of pain in the body that you've currently got. And I said, so this can be a pleasant experience. And he thanked me profusely for saying that because he was quite scared. And he said that he'd already seen things. He'd been sitting in the lounge room of his home, and that he kept on seeing not bodies or faces, but like flashes of light, if you like, going in front of him, beside him, near him, but he didn't know what they were. He never mentioned it to anybody until we had a discussion. So I had a poem that was about not dying alone. You don't die alone. And that made him feel more peaceful. So I've been practicing with doing things like that, trying to help people that are feeling that they're insecure, they're scared about what's happening to them, to make them feel more at peace and know that when they go, they're not alone. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Very good. Very good. That's a good way of putting in practice things we study, things we learn. Because if we only study, it means nothing. We need to study, to learn something, and then practice what we have learned. Hi, Sila.
Hi. I just want to go back a little bit to the part that talk about curiosity, about like people that will come to the studies for curiosity or merely, just to come. And I understand how can I put it? For the mediumship studies, yeah, I mean, it's a bit too much, but I cannot like see how curiosity is not what drive people into spiritism, because even for Kardec, for say, he was curious about the tables, and I think 90% of the people that come the first meeting of spiritualists comes for curiosity. For us Brazilians, kind of like a lot of people talk about, and is very different. But for the British people here that comes at least to the meetings we make here, they are completely like curiosity, let's see what's that about. And then for some of them it's like, oh, this is not, it's boring, I go away. And a lot of them are like, oh no, it speaks through my truth, I want to come back, I want to know more, and then they dedicate themselves. But I think the main spark is the curiosity. At least for me, I went for curiosity. I start like that. So
Very good point. But you already answered yourself when you said that I've started like that. When we were speaking about curiosity, is someone that's coming for a year just for the curiosity.
oh no,
If you
I
come
think
for the curiosity once, twice, and then you find yourself, it's fine. That the purpose has been met, right? But if you are a person, and I know few, that after years is still there just for curiosity, because they don't study, they don't put themselves to help anyone, they don't practice charity, they are there. Sometimes they're even on the studies watching their cell phones. They're on the study doing something else because I'm just there, I just want to see if something different will happen. That's not positive, right? But you brought a very interesting topic. Oh, another hand. Who's that?
It's me. It's me.
Oh,
It's me.
you.
Oh, you. Yeah. No, I will say something that is not related just because of the Christine said. It's related with the Christine said, right? Not with the point. Has a group, a organization that I saw here. The name is Butterfly, and they do this wonderful work to assist people that doesn't have a member that doesn't have nobody, right? And you die. So I just want to share, maybe if someone wants.
Yeah, interesting. Good to know. Yeah, there are so many different ways to help. Don't need to be on the spiritist per se. And spiritism, as it is a philosophy, what we do, what we learn, what we study, can be used in other philosophies, in other religions, in other principles. There's no harm doing this. And actually, for example, I had people in the past that they were mediums, they were totally unbalanced in a different way, in a different philosophy, participating of a different philosophy. And I said, come, let us tell you what is the mechanism behind that. But I don't want to become a spiritist. I'm not saying to you to become a spiritist. I'm just saying that if you want to know what is going on with you, you come, you learn, and you go back to your day-to-day thing. That's no harm. The person came, started to have questions, understood what was happening, and return to the day-to-day activity where he came from. So what we know, what we learn, is to be shared with people that are in need. And there are so many mediums. They are not spiritists. If they met a spiritist that can answer their questions or help them or point them in a direction that make their experience more friendly, why not? Why not? This is different than say that he will bring his philosophy to change what we do. This is different. No, Camila?
Yeah, you pointed to a point that I think is hard, right? Because you spoke about the lights, you spoke about the cheese, right? In many parts, Kardec also say for we be open, right? Because the things grow, the things progress, right? Because we have that is the content of that time, but with the time we can learn more and we can do better things, right? We learned that the light make no difference. For example, no, it's not the light that make a difference, or it's not the saint in the Catholic Church that make a difference, but it's the person that is a tool for the person connect, right? So it's the way that the person can pray more nicely. I don't know. Then what you say for me is sometimes it's hard because it's a gray line, right? It's a very gray line because at the same time that you see people say, don't use the light because whatever, right? Then the person, I don't know, use the colors of chakras, right? The colors of chakras is not in the spiritual books as well, right? It has has a mix. It's hard to choose gray line that you are let's try to keep only the spiritism, right? I don't know if I can express myself.
You bring me food for thoughts, and I will share that with everyone. Have you asked any spiritist, any spirit, about what you said?
Has things that I don't know.
No, before you digress, answer my question first. Have you asked a benefactor about what you said?
The gray line, always, I think yes, the thing maybe in different ways, but usually I think the last answer that I have is like you work with the tools that you have and you take the best of it.
You're not answering my question, and I see why, right? Because that talks to your heart, and that is very common, very nice. But Spiritism will evolve. Kardec said that. But he also said how will evolve. Will evolve is not with what you think, what you like. There is a process to evolve. And he said clearly that if science validates something, Spiritism will bring on board science. Right? It's not what I think. I think a lot of things. I like a lot of things. It does not mean it's validated by the spiritists, by the benefactors, or by the spiritism, right? Before we incorporate something into the spiritism, we need to use the processes that Kardec clearly states for us, universality of teachings of the spirits. So things are going to happen all around the world, bringing that as a new truth, if you like. And then when you have such a thing, you need to evaluate, you need to study, you need to do your homework. And part of this homework is asking the benefactors who lead our spiritist centers what you think. Before we do what I like, what I feel that is right. So there is a process to follow. Otherwise, it becomes anything else. You advocate something, Christina advocates something else, I will advocate something else, later we'll and then on the end of the day, there's no spiritism anymore. Because we are advocating what I like, because that's human. That's very nice. I like. And based on the answers from the Spirit, is also down to you to evaluate and to analyze. Look at the answer that I got from one of the benefactors. We already bring everything you need in the Spirit Center. You don't need to bring any light, any perfume, no. We bring everything. But to understand that, you need to study perispirit, you need to understand fluids, you need to understand the spiritual world. There's a massive homework to do, right? But he also said, this is positive, but that's no need for it here. Okay, here we do that already. So why you want to do something that you don't need? Because you feel comfortable? Because you like? So those kind of questions we need to always bring into the table to analyze. I'm not having a go with her at all, guys. I'm just trying to use that for us to learn, right? We need to evaluate. We need to be thorough. And it's, again, well, Kardec said things were evolved. Yes, but we're not going to do a carnival here because carnival is nice. I like carnival. And then spiritism with carnival will be a good thing for the future. You know what I mean? So we have to be careful because there are a lot of spirits who want to disrupt at least a path that we've chosen, who wants to disrupt good practices we perhaps have. So we need to be very thorough, follow a process, and as I always work with your benefactors, ask serious spirits who leads the movement, what do you think? Because spiritism without spirits is no spiritism, it's something else. But people over the years, decades, they stop asking the spirits. I don't know why, but they stopped. And the spiritism started because of the spirits. And if for any reason we decide to stop listening to them to do what I think is right, it's not spiritism anymore. It's something else. Could be positive, but it's something else. It's not spiritism. So we need to work with the spirits to be guided, to do what we're supposed to be doing, to evolve. We'll evolve, yes. Spiritism will evolve, and I'm really advocate that. But to evolve the spiritism, we need a process to validate. Otherwise, is what I think, what I like. And spiritism is not that. So, oh dear, I have 3 hands. Let me go for the first one on the left. Sila, yeah, go on.
All right. When you ask Camila, I had like a response that is particular to me, of course, it happened to me. But when I met you the first time, Guilherme, in the online, like we're doing, I told you that I have the spiritism as the backbone, as the spine, the rules. And then from there, other things deviate. And like in my case, I end up doing some type of healing that you know about, and a spiritual healing in the sense, but it's not, I mean, if it comes from spiritism, but it's something that deviates. And that's what I do. And when I ask, I didn't ask my spiritual guide, but I was really much guided and thrown to. So I take as yes. But then for example, this happens to me. It was kind of funny too. I have this intuition to get a tarot cards. And I get there, and it has nothing to do with the spiritism, and I'm quite aware. But then I told my spirit, like my guide, I said, look, my mentor, now we have these cards. Don't you think this is the best way for us to communicate? And next thing, I receive a message saying, if you want to use that, it's fine, but don't you think it's quite immature? Just that, dry as it is. I was just like, okay, I put the tarot cards away and I never touch again. Because we have to be focused. We can do other things that deviates and that makes us feel good. But the spiritism is the main road. And then you can take other little roads, but the main road, you have to be focused and keep on there. And that way you don't do mistakes, you know? So yeah.
And through our first meeting, I never said to you, don't do it.
Oh no, I know that.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
remember that is not something that you would agree on your side, and I do my, yeah, I know, I understand.
Yeah. Look, why I'm saying that, you never hear to me, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because the Spiritism do not forbid anyone to do anything. You can do how you feel comfortable, what you want to do, how you see fit. But what you do is not Spiritism. As you said, is a deviation. I'm deviating. So as soon as we deviate, it's something else. And this is study. You guys don't know me. Perhaps when I finish here, I'm going to do something different. That's not Spiritism, but may have a result. But what we do here is Spiritism. And doing Spiritism, I need to highlight what are the Spiritism guidelines. And anything we do, and using our own words, we deviate from the Spiritism, it's not Spiritism. Could be something else. There are centers, for example, back in Brazil, they mix Umbanda and Spiritism. And how can you mix two philosophies? I appreciate both of them. Both of them do very good things, but they're different. So what that means, that a human being that feel comfortable in the Spiritism by like the music during the sections. So I feel like I'm half feet here, half feet there. Like I want to be in both. But this is not a Spiritism. The spirits who operate on the Spiritism, they also operate on Umbanda. I've been to Umbanda centers to do research, to do a few things, part of my normal research things I do, and I had no problem at all. But Umbanda is Umbanda, Spiritism is Spiritism. There's no a third view with a different name to accommodate both. You can use the methods, create a new philosophy, create something with a different name. It doesn't mean that it is Spiritism, it's something else. Right? Munir said something that was, what time is it? Munir said something that was very interesting. Now, well, what's that, Munir? Astral travel or something like that, you said, right?
Yeah.
Is there on Spiritism with a different name? Is there? There's a lot of people now going into apometry. Is there on the Spiritism? There's a lot of people talking about many things, saying, "No, this is not." You first need to study Kardec. And perhaps you find yourself, oh, yeah, he's here. Because a lot of people like to talk about Kardec without studying them, the books, without studying the Spiritist magazine. People think Kardec has only 5 books, and that's not true. And then we think, oh, this is something else, and then that's fine. Apometry, for example, is there on the Spiritist, is there in the Medium's book with a different name. That medium that used to work with Chico, who he left, what's his name?
Valdo Vieira.
Valdo Vieira. He created something else. I did research, I've studied, I dig into it. What he does is Spiritism 100%, with a different name. Perhaps he did not have the support among his peers to go in depth into that kind of area of the Spiritism or science, for example. And then he thought, well, Spiritism is not opening possibilities to me, I will go somewhere else. But what he's doing is Spiritism with a different name. But how many people stop to compare and to study both, to understand, yeah, it's the same? How many people study Kardec in depth to say that apometry is the same? Is the same in the sense that the principles are the same. Because we don't need to flick fingers to do something. It's here. We need to understand the power of our thoughts, of our intentions. If I don't understand, I will think that I need to clap fingers. And there's no problem, clap fingers. There's no problem at all. Don't understand me wrong. But it's here. You don't need to. When we do healing, there are so many different people doing different practices. Some people believe if I just put my hand on top of the head of the forehead or the head of the person, that will do, because that's the way Jesus did. guys, we are a bit far away from Jesus. Huh? I tell you, we don't have the same means as he does, right? And I feel the need to move my hands. Is one right or the other one's wrong? No, not at all. And when you move your hands, depending on your sensitivity, you see different things, you feel different things, you manipulate energy in a different way. And Jesus did not even need his hand. You just need to think, done. But he put his hand probably to show the people that were doing, he was doing something, otherwise people would not believe him. But he did not need any hand to make anything he did. And we have many examples to prove what I'm saying. So you'll be surprised if you study Kardec in depth. Hi, Lunia. Let me go to the other ones I'm talking too much.
I was going to say, Guilherme, if we want to know everything that exists in terms of our material science, biology, chemistry, physics, medicine, and so on, how many books would we need? How many years would we need? And about the spiritual world, there's even more, information, phenomena, everything that we don't even dream of. So to think that in the spirits brought information about the spiritual world for Kardec to compile. And that compilation, although they mention every now and then the different aspects of it, they don't go into detail because it would take us millennia to get to know everything. So it's a compilation. And sometimes people think, I need to explain quantum physics with Kardec. I need to explain. No, you may find elements there that say, yes, it is important, but not in what we're talking about. Because the objective of Spiritism, Kardec just mentioned that, is our moral advancement. It's not for us to explain everything, how the particle physics works, and no. And it's the same with, for instance, acupuncture. Acupuncture is in an old medicine. It's a Chinese medicine, and it works. But do we need to bring this within the spiritist context? No, we are not here to deal with these sciences. And so Spiritism was compiled in a very well-structured way and should be kept, in that way. And of course, from there to grow, to advance, and naturally go into different areas. We see some people trying to force things and, Spiritism and quantum physics. Quantum physics explains the physical world, and Spiritism is talking basically about the spiritual world, the aspects of the spiritual world that at this point will help us morally speaking, not in scientific terms. And no, that is our work. One day things will join, but not today. There are huge gaps. And as Guilherme mentioned, other philosophies, other religions, each one has a way to give us contribution according to our level. But Spiritism should be kept Spiritism. We shouldn't just mix everything in a blender and, Spiritism doesn't talk about. Someone mentioned chakra. Chakra is a Sanskrit word. It comes from, the Indian ancient philosophy, and Kardec talks about that, centers of force. It's been mentioned there. Not directly as chakra, but he mentioned that. He doesn't go into detail. All the philosophies will tell us more about that. But, the objective for our moral growth wasn't actually to go into detail about chakra and, the centers of force and so on and so forth. But we see in book Genesis, it talks about, the energy circulating in the body and so on. It's there, but it hasn't been expanded because it's not necessary at this point for our moral progress. So we see that. That's why let's keep Spiritism. We can study other things as well, but keep for ourselves, if we can benefit from that. But let's keep Spiritism as, Spiritism, and not, as I said, put everything in a blender.
So now, thank you, Munir. Hi, Christine.
Just quickly, just where you were saying you don't need extra things to do things related to spiritism. One of the things I'm finding that has become stronger and stronger for me is I'm picking up on smells, like smoking. And I'll go, well, is there someone around that's smoking? No. Perfume. I'll pick up on perfume, and I'm in my own home. The doors and windows aren't open, and I'll pick up on a perfume smell, and it's the same perfume that my mother used to wear or my mother's friends used to wear, and I just take that as a sign that they're wanting a connection. So I'm starting to understand or try and understand that a bit better. And the other thing I'll quickly say is, when I was away, I visited my son and my daughter, and my son used to be a Buddhist monk. And I've tried to talk to him about spiritism, and I just said, look, at the end of the day, you need to look at a movie called Kardec, and I'll lend you a book that you can see what I'm talking about. He just doesn't get it at all. And he started saying to me something about visualization. That's just called visualization. That's it. And I said, no, it's not. But anyway, I think at the beginning, when I joined, it was don't try and convince anybody, because at the end of the day, they'll find out for themselves.
Very good. Very good. Hi, Roger. Roger, I think your mic is closed.
Yeah, right. You can hear me now, can't you? You got me now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go on.
good. Right. Just quickly go back. First of all, I actually came into Spiritism by marrying Lolita, the Lolita, the one you all know, infamous. I hadn't even heard of Spiritism before that, really. I was of the Church of England, very close to the Church of England for many, many years, quite happy within it. And then things went on in my life and I drifted away. So when I met her, I was no longer involved in that church, married her, didn't know much about Spiritism, but slowly became interested. A few years ago, my interests were increased as I got involved helping her. I was going up to Solidarity at Clapham Junction, reading the boards. I was a great fan. By the age of 12, I'd read every book written by Conan Doyle, everything he wrote, quite literally. So it was like, if he's a fan of Spiritism, there's something to this. There was this question in my mind of what's this guy Kardec, and there was this question going on. So I was intrigued by it all. So there was this idea. I was an Englishman with an interest in it. I wanted to just know more. And then I decided last year to find out more. I was curious, got involved with Solidarity in a small group. Now, Solidarity has a much bigger group, but it's Portuguese, but they do a small group in English, and there's only about 7-8 people studying the books, the Kardec books, which is great idea. But I am still a beginner. I would define me as a beginner. I'm still at a very beginner level. And what you're talking about in terms of connection with the spirits, at the moment, I don't feel I understand a connection with spirits. I don't feel I have any connection. And what you're talking about actually scares me because I haven't got that connection. Now, I'm thinking, when am I going to have a connection? Where will that connection come from? How will I know
I
where
will.
I have? People keep saying, oh, all sorts of things are being said.
Let me share with you, Roger, my own experience. I'm born in a spiritist family, and I've started very young to participate on the mediumship meetings. I was 15 years old when I did, quite some time ago, and I thought I was no medium. I didn't feel anything. I thought I was deaf and blind to spirits altogether, and was like that for many, many years, many years. My connection with the spiritual world became more clear to me something like 10, 15 years ago. So I'm saying that to you to show you that that's not really important, because when the time is right, things will come if they have to come. It's not mandatory to us to have that ostensive connection with the spiritual world, because we get connected with them without feeling them. When you help someone, you're getting connected with them. When you have a good thought, you are get connected with the good ones too. So that's the kind of connection we started. And for example, in our mediumship meetings, we have people that, oh well, I'm not feeling anything. Are you in a hurry? Don't worry. Don't put that pressure on you, because things will happen naturally.
Yeah.
Naturally. So the first time I had contact with the spirits, I can tell you, I was really, really scared. I was very young and I was really scared. And my father was beside me telling me, you don't say a word. You sit and you pay attention. So, Dad, I was really frightened by that thing. And I had the theory, but I never had the practice. I was scared. Shh. Okay, Dad. Respect to my dad and everything. And that was it. So don't put a pressure on you at all. Things will happen naturally when they have to happen, whenever they are planned to happen. And some of us, we have different activities as well. We are not there to give communication to spirits. We are not there to feel that close to them to that extent, right? I'm trying to use very simple words, because we are there to support. We are there to donate energy. We are there to do so many different things that we really don't need to be giving voice or seeing the spirits. I'll say my last thing, and I apologize to you guys because the time is going by. Initially, I was very curious. I would like to see spirits. I would like to hear spirits, until I realized that I won't hear, I won't see, I won't do anything. Then I thought I would never had that kind of connection. And today I'm very glad I don't see the spirits. Why I'm saying that? Because we see nice things, but we also see things that are not that nice. So he knows better than we do what we should be getting into it. We just need to give a little bit of time. And by the way, you did not have a choice because of Lolita. She pushed you through it. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So,
Well, actually, excuse me, I didn't push him.
oh,
He was with me 20 years
oh,
beside me. And one of the amazing things that Roger always did, and I'm very grateful for it, is he always gave me the freedom to join all the studies, in many ways giving up time being with me being with him. So I'm very grateful for him having given me the time to study, to learn about the doctrine. And I guess a lot of things, like you said, Guilherme, everything happens when we are right, when things are supposed to happen. So his curiosity, which was the first trigger, actually now he is in quite a few studies and really learning from it, questioning from it, as we all did. We all question at the beginning, and that is the way, isn't it?
Indeed.
So
I know that Rafael is desperate to get the mic, but I'll say just one thing before I pass the mic to him. If on the end of the studies, that's to everyone, you having more questions than answers, I'm very happy with that. I'm very, very happy with that. Because that means you guys will go a bit deeper. You will read more. You will study more. And that's very, very good. So, Rafael, before you kick me out, it's all yours.
Yes, Liz.
Oh, sorry, Liz, go on. Quick one.
Yeah, I was just wanting to say that in my quest after, my son and my father passed over in 2004 and 3, that's what brought me to Spiritism. I was searching for answers and connection with spirit and the universe. And I also think that Spiritism should always be at the center of our lives because it is the pathway, it is a moral compass. And no matter what else we study, it is secondary because it gives us the very essentials of who we are, why we're here. And after that, because I did study with Wilder Vieira, I did study, his consciousness. I did all his courses, mainly on energy. It was on the more scientific side of Spiritism. And I got so much from it. He described what he was teaching as the clarification task, and the Spiritism side with the books, the consolation task. Both are essential. Then you get balance. But all along the way, it is who we are, why we are here, that Spiritism gives us. And then the other essential bit is finding out further truths, then finding out more about our health, then finding out about our environment, in that order. But at the top should always come Spiritism.
Very good, Liz. Thank you. Rafael, all yours.
I'll do it today.
Oh, you're there. I
Guilherme.
didn't see you. Hi, Pablo.
Hello. So, my friends, let's close our eyes, calm our minds and hearts, and join in this irradiation, asking our Master Jesus and our dear Father that we can act as cannons, beacons of light, of help, of waves of charity, love, care, warmth, and that this can be spread around this world that is, as we speak, filled with so much misery. Brothers and sisters who are hungry, brothers and sisters who are without a shelter, who cannot be saved from the cold, who are going through famine, the lack of water, food, or their basic rights, who are in the middle of wars, who feel themselves helpless or hopeless. Dear God, may your everlasting love cover this world. And may this be felt in all hearts. May hope be felt as we know that there will be always tomorrow, new opportunities, new paths, new ways, second chances, and that we can feel with your divine justice that things will be better, and that step by step we're going through in our way to happiness. Thank you, and so be it.
Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, everyone. That was a very pleasant study, and I hope to see you all next week.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very
Bye
much.
bye.
Sorry
Bye.
for bringing the king
Thank
of your
you. Bye.
worms. Sorry. Bye.
Uh,
Bye.
My
Bye.
watcher is two.